Welcome back to Newsstream 360, bringing you the latest news from around the world. For over a century, crude oil has powered the global economy, fueling industries, moving goods, and connecting nations. From the earliest days of the automobile to the rise of global air travel and the digital age, oil has been the invisible force behind modern life. Its presence is woven into everything from the plastics we use to the food we eat, making it a cornerstone of daily existence. Its flow is a complex dance of supply, demand, and geopolitics, tankers linking resource-rich regions to energy-hungry centers. Every day, millions of barrels cross oceans, connecting continents and shaping the fate of nations. The journey of oil is not just about transportation, but about the intricate web of relationships and dependencies it creates. Oil is more than fuel. It's a pillar of national security and a driver of foreign policy. Control over oil resources can determine a country's influence on the world stage, and access to energy supplies is often at the heart of international negotiations and conflicts. Nations with reserves wield influence. They can shape alliances, dictate terms, and even sway the direction of global events. Importers must navigate a risky geopolitical landscape, balancing their energy needs with the realities of shifting alliances, regional tensions, and the ever-present threat of supply disruptions. The price of oil shapes economies, from inflation to government budgets, influencing everything from the cost of transportation to the price of food and goods. A sudden spike or drop can ripple through financial markets, affecting millions of lives. Access to energy can lift nations out of poverty or underpin military might. Reliable oil supplies mean progress, development, and security, while shortages can lead to hardship and instability. Any disruption in oil trade sends shockwaves worldwide, as political disputes or policy shifts can instantly reshape markets and alliances. Even a single blocked shipping lane or embargo can trigger panic, shortages, and price surges across the globe. The world is entering a volatile new chapter. The once integrated oil market is splintering, with new trade routes emerging and old partnerships dissolving. Geopolitical alignments now rival economic logic in determining who buys from whom, as countries prioritize security and loyalty over price and efficiency. The summer of 2025 revealed how great power rivalry is redrawing the global energy map. Tensions between major players have made oil not just a commodity, but a tool of strategy and leverage. The actions of the US, China, and India are interconnected moves in a high-stakes game, with the global oil supply hanging in the balance. As these powers maneuver for advantage, the world watches, knowing that the outcome will shape the future of energy, economics, and international relations for years to come. China's rise as the world's factory is fueled by an insatiable demand for oil, making it the largest importer globally. Securing diverse, stable oil supplies is central to Beijing's strategy, vital for economic growth and social stability. China's state-owned oil giants have invested worldwide, locking in long-term contracts and equity stakes to shield against market shocks. But as US-China tensions escalate, energy security is now a battleground. The US Navy's control of key sea lanes like the Strait of Malacca has pushed China to seek overland routes and deepen ties with Russia. In 2025, oil purchases became political statements, not just commercial deals. China's vast supplier network lets it pivot quickly, using its buying power as both shield and sword in the new era of great power competition. Oil has long been a tool of statecraft, used to reward allies and punish adversaries. But in the 21st century, oil's role has evolved far beyond simple economics. It's now a lever of influence, a bargaining chip in the hands of those who control its flow. The stakes are higher than ever, and the consequences ripple across the globe. Today, the US, China, and other major players wield oil as a strategic weapon, not just a commodity. Their decisions can shift markets overnight, impacting everything from the price at the pump to the stability of entire economies. The US can offer or withhold supplies. It can use its vast reserves and export power to shape alliances, apply pressure, or provide relief in times of crisis. China, on the other hand, can shift demand to reward or penalize producers, leveraging its position as the world's largest importer to influence global supply chains and reshape trade relationships. Every major oil deal is now a geopolitical move, not just a business transaction. Behind every handshake and contract lies a web of strategic calculations and national interests. The market has become a chessboard, with governments making calculated moves to advance their interests. Each decision is a step in a larger game. where energy security and political leverage are at stake. This politicization introduces new risks and uncertainty for companies and consumers alike. Volatility is the new normal, and the rules of the game can change overnight, leaving businesses scrambling to adapt. In 2025, China halted U.S. oil imports, a move that sent shockwaves through global markets and forced companies to rethink their supply chains. Meanwhile, the U.S. penalized India for buying Russian oil, actions driven by strategy, not market fundamentals. These decisions are about power, not just profit. These moves show oil flows are dictated as much by Washington and Beijing as by Houston or Riyadh. Political agendas now shape the routes and recipients of the world's most vital resource. The era of oil as a simple commodity is over. The market's old certainties have vanished, replaced by a landscape defined by rivalry and maneuvering. Oil is now a weapon in the contest for global power, a force that shapes alliances, triggers conflicts, and determines the fate of nations. In July 2025, Beijing abruptly halted all U.S. oil imports, a move that sent shockwaves through global markets. This was a calculated, strategic decision, not simply an economic reaction. The world watched as China, the world's largest oil importer, made it clear that energy could be wielded as a tool of statecraft. Tankers bound for China were abruptly canceled, contracts frozen mid-shipment, and U.S. oil companies left scrambling. With one bold action, China sent a clear message to Washington: energy dependence could no longer be used as leverage in diplomatic disputes. The timing was crucial. The U.S. was actively pressuring other nations, especially India, to reduce their reliance on Russian oil. China's move was a direct response, signaling that it would not be intimidated or isolated by American energy policy. By cutting off U.S. oil, China removed a key vulnerability in its supply chain and demonstrated its ability to withstand external pressure. It was a show of resilience and self-reliance, reinforcing Beijing's commitment to energy security. The impact on U.S. producers was immediate and severe. Surplus crude began piling up, prices tumbled, and American exporters scrambled to find new buyers in an already saturated market. The sudden loss of their biggest customer exposed deep vulnerabilities in the U.S. oil sector. The move exposed the risks of politicized markets, where access to customers and profits can vanish overnight. It was a stark reminder that in today's interconnected world, economic ties can be severed in an instant. China's gambit meant accepting short-term economic pain for the promise of long-term strategic advantage. Economists in Beijing weighed the costs, but the leadership was determined to prioritize national security over immediate profits. The world took notice. China's decision signaled that alternatives to the US-dominated energy order not only exist, but are actively being pursued. New trade routes and partnerships began to emerge across Asia and beyond. Severing this vital energy link was more than a trade disruption. It was a declaration of intent, a warning that the global balance of power was shifting. The global energy map was being redrawn in real time, with China at the center of new alliances and reshaping the rules of the game. The halt marked a pivotal moment in the superpower rivalry, one that will echo through the world's energy markets for years to come. As China's move reverberated, Washington struck back, this time targeting India. In August 2025, the U.S. imposed steep tariffs on Indian goods, punishing New Delhi for buying discounted Russian oil. The message: abandon Russian energy or face economic pain. India, once a master of balancing ties with both the U.S. and Russia, was forced to choose sides. Cheap Russian oil had saved India billions, but now compliance meant higher costs and potential unrest. Defiance risked a trade war with a key partner. The U.S. response revealed a willingness to use economic weapons even against friends. India was caught in the crossfire, paying a steep price for a conflict it didn't start. The tariffs underscored the complex, often inconsistent calculations behind U.S. foreign policy. As the U.S. pressured India, China and Russia seized the moment. Russian oil, once bound for India, was rerouted to China, deepening their strategic partnership. For Russia, China became a lifeline, bypassing Western sanctions and securing vital revenue. For China, discounted Russian oil boosted energy security and cut costs. Their energy trade became the backbone of a new geopolitical bloc, challenging U.S. dominance. New pipelines and currency deals are building a parallel energy ecosystem, resilient to Western pressure. The Russia-China axis is now a formidable force, redrawing the world's energy map along political lines. This partnership is a direct challenge to the post-Cold War order. The summer's geopolitical maneuvers created clear winners and losers. US oil producers lost the Chinese market, faced surpluses and saw profits squeezed. Indian consumers paid more for fuel as cheap Russian oil dried up, fueling inflation and political headaches. Russia and China emerged as the big winners. Russia secured a stable outlet, China gained discounted energy. Their alliance formed a powerful bloc operating outside US influence. The result, a fragmented market with two-tiered pricing, one for US-aligned buyers, another for Russia-China. Oil prices now depend as much on politics as on supply and demand. Every nation's energy bill is shaped by its alliances. The global market is more volatile, unpredictable, and divided than ever. The events of 2025 ended the era of a single, integrated oil market. The world is splitting into rival energy blocs, Sino-Russian on one side, US and allies on the other. Nations like India can no longer stay neutral. Every oil deal is a political act. Tanker routes are dictated by sanctions and alliances, not efficiency. For consumers, this means higher prices and more risk. For businesses, a new era of uncertainty. Oil is now at the heart of a messy, multipolar world. The splintered oil market is the new normal, defining prosperity and security for decades to come.